Hey YouTube, hey everyone, it's me Michelle. Just giving you an update. So I did decide to speak to a fertility doctor. I had my first appointment this past Tuesday, which was June 20th, 2017. So what happened was, I think I did mention in my last video that my husband had a minor heart attack, and I think it kind of rattled me a little bit, to the point where I was kind of like, man, I wouldn't have anything. Like, we don't have any children together and nothing together. So it kind of made me want a child again, with him, of course. So I made a doctor's appointment with the fertility doctor. His reviews were really good. And so I did go. I went this past Tuesday again. Today's Friday, the 22nd, I think. 23rd. Today's June 23rd, 2017. Anyway, so I made a doctor's appointment. I went on the 20th of this month. I was really, really nervous. Last week was really hard for me. I was super emotional, really nervous because I didn't know, I thought they were going to say, ma'am, at your age, you need to just go straight for IVF. And that was my fear. Or he was going to say something is seriously wrong, or you're too old to be, at your age. I don't even know why you think anything else. And that's kind of what I was thinking. But glory be to God, I got there. And even the night before, I was so nervous. I was telling my husband, I was like, babe, should I even go? And, I was so nervous. And so I did wind up going. And again, glory be to God, I got there. And the doctor was really good. He was like, well, because I do have my monthly time of the month, and it's pretty, pretty much on time. He said, well, then that's a good thing. And then he told me that, he would just run some tests on me and on my husband. He was like, and after he's done with all the tests, we should know what it is. We should have some idea. And I was like, well, you're going to have to do this, that, and the other. And he was like, no, that's IVF. That's a whole other ballgame. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about running some tests and finding out what it is. And then he said, depending on what it is, he said, if your estrogen's low, we might be able to give you some estrogen pills or shots or whatever they give. He said, if it's progesterone or if it's something with your husband, he's like, we might be able to give antibiotics. So he gave me options that were not, oh, you just need to do IVF. You'd have no choice. IVF is the only answer for you. And that's what I was terrified of hearing. And I was really, really pleasantly surprised to hear options, and so I go back in a couple of weeks or so. I'm really happy. My husband's on board. I got him. He's on board. And so just prayerfully that this will work out. And in the next few weeks, we'll at least know something, know where we need to be or what we need to do or what it is, and we'll be, I felt like I hadn't really tried this. And I was like, I keep saying, oh, I've done everything. I've tried everything, but I hadn't. And I felt like I couldn't say I've tried everything without, they always say, if your leg hurts or your arm hurts badly enough, you'll go to the doctor. Eventually you're going to go. And when it comes to fertility issues, especially when, we have a relationship with God, we feel like, oh, we can just pray. And there's nothing wrong with that. And believe me, I'm praying the whole time. But there's nothing wrong with going to the doctor to see a specialist on us. And the other blessing, two things I was nervous about was him telling me that there was no hope. I just needed IVF. And IVF is just very expensive. And that's what I was afraid of. And then they said, because my husband had been to the hospital already this year, everything looked like it was covered under the deductible. All the testing anyway. So I was like, oh, thank you. So I'm really excited. I'm praying that it all works out. And that, next report, I'll keep everybody posted. Please subscribe below. Follow me and I will follow you. I'm following everybody that's on the same journey. Just because I want to know, what do people do? This is new to me. And, I think the hard part, I was telling somebody today, the hard part is, people with children that already have children have never struggled. They don't really understand. So their option is girl, you're fine, you're good, or they want to give you advice. Why don't you adopt? Why don't you become a foster parent? And I'm not against adopting or becoming a foster parent. But my thing is, I'm talking about conception. Why don't you get a surrogate? Okay, I'm talking about conception. You're talking about having a child. That's apples and oranges to me. They're not the same. And there's nothing wrong. Do not get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm talking about one specific thing. I'm talking about conceiving my own child. And people don't know what to say, so they just start throwing out these other. Well, here's option A, option B, option C. These are just different options, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about one specific thing. So that can be a little frustrating at times. But again, I do thank God. Everything worked out well so far. Praying that when we go back in a couple of weeks, we get some more good news. So that's all. Thanks for looking. Talk to you later. Bye.